Alrighty, today we will be reacting to why the US can't build new helicopters. I'm wondering why you wouldn't be able to build new helicopters, but anyway, let's see what this is about.
Helicopters. They're like planes, but not really. The helicopters currently in use
They're
by the
like
United
planes, but not
States
really.
military are objectively cool. I mean, look at this thing.
That is beefy. What is that
The United
helicopter,
States
by the way?
military are objectively cool.
What is that? Is that a Seahawk or something? It looks like a Chinook. Well, but not a Chinook. It's definitely not a Chinook, that's for sure.
I mean, look at this thing. But they are also very old. Like, really old. Why is that? The U.S. Army is just...
That reminds me how apparently the Canadian military is still using helicopters from the 60s, I think. Or at least they're transport helicopters, I think. We don't have attack helicopters. Also, what is that? What is that?
just now going to be replacing its UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter, which has been flying since 1979.
Wait,
We're
really?
not even close to the oldest military aircraft that we have still in active service. Today, I want to talk rotary wing, how we ended up with models of helicopters that
Apaches.
are old enough to be the father I never had, and why attempts at building new ones have failed for one reason or another.
Well, at least they can still build the old models, but just rebuild them over and over again, right? Like, it doesn't have to be an original copy of, like, 1970 or something, right? I hope so.
Take the like and subscribe button and let's talk about it. Helicopters are very, very neat.
Like you don't have to use the Black Hawk from 1983. You can just use the Black Hawk from 2019 or something.
There ever comes a day where one flies over, I don't...
Oh yeah, it's those helicopters I think we have. Well, the same vibe-ish. I know we have like something called the Iroquois. It's an Iroquois helicopter. I know the French have this thing.
Stop what I'm doing to stare at it, then that's the day you gotta take me out back and put me down. Thankfully,
That is a
the military buys a lot of them, so I get to watch cool Instagram edits of them. The Army flies the AH-64 Apache, which has been in use since 1984. The CH-47 Chinook since 1962. The UH-72 Lakota...
I have not seen that helicopter ever in my fucking life. What is that?
which is kind of the odd one out here and doesn't really count. And the venerable UH-60 Black Hawk since 79. The Navy and the Air Force also use the Black Hawk platform, flying the C...
Yeah, I know that we use the let's see. That thing. There it is. So yeah, that's the one I mean. Canadian. There we go. Oh, that is a lot of helicopters. That is not what I meant. But yeah, it's that type of helicopter I know that we use. I once saw some special forces unit. What? I once saw some special forces unit with a minigun on it.
Hawk and the Pave Hawk, respectively. Navy and Marines use the MH-53
Oh, so
family
that's
of
the helicopter we saw earlier.
helicopters, which were
I
introduced
wonder what that rod is. Is it like a radar?
in 1968. The V-22,
Ah,
which
the
we'll talk about later,
Osprey.
and modernized versions of the Cobra from 67, and of course the Huey, being the oldest general platform on this list, first introduced back in 1956. Now there are current programs
refueling,
going on, like
okay.
the Future Attack Reconnaissance Aircraft, that are going to be replacing things like the Apache, and are going to be integrating new technologies like, they canceled that last month. The Apache...
What?
Moving on. Now I know what you're thinking. Now Justin, comparing a first generation UH-1 from the 50s and saying we're still flying it because the UH-1Y is around is unfair, because as you can tell from the Y on the end of UH-1Y,
That is true.
there have been at least a handful of upgrades between this and this.
No kidding. Just look at the difference.
You stupid fucking retarded hold ass fuck. And that is the first reason we're going to be talking about why helicopters have stuck around so long.
Upgrades?
You don't need a new helicopter if you can just make the one you have better. And we do that with pretty much everything. The Bradley's on major iteration number 4, the Abrams about 4 million, and there are nearly 20 different variations of the Stryker and LAV platform. Let's look at the UH-60 specifically here. It is the backbone workhorse of Army aviation since it replaced the Hueys. They're incredible aircraft that, to this day, still punch above their weight.
Oh yeah, I heard. I think someone in the Ukrainian military bought a civilian version of the Black Hawk and said it was like driving a Mercedes or something, like a very fancy car
Unrelated.
compared to what he was used to, at least.
Here's a picture of me almost
What
dying
the
in a
fuck is
mid-air
that?
collision. Still punch above their weight. Unrelated. Here's a picture of me almost dying in a
What is that?
mid-air collision in one. Just figured that was
Wait, he was in the military?
related. Here's a picture of
Huh, I mean, it makes sense, but I never thought it was. Okay.
me almost dying in a mid-air collision in one. Just figured that was worth throwing up there. As of 2025, the United States has fielded nearly 30 different variants. From normal troop transport, medevacs, electronic warfare, anti-submarine, and cool ones, painted black.
What the?
Medevacs, electronic warfare, anti-submarine.
Is that anti-submarine? Why don't they just use depth charges? Why do you have to get solo to drop whatever that is? Maybe someone in the comments can tell me if...
Marine, and cool ones painted black with missiles and miniguns called direct action penetrators, which sounds like a military themed porno movie. On top of that, there have been another 30-ish built for export to other countries.
Yep.
Each tailor-made and built to the exact specifications of said country's mission sets.
I mean, yeah, it does, but like the helicopter is putting itself in massive risk just by being so close, you would think, no? Like usually you try to make your weapon go far away from you before the other guy has time to respawn, no? Now it's like if you're dropping, I don't know.
Like taking Viagra without insurance,
What?
building a new helicopter is both hard and expensive. Plus, you have to reconfigure the entire logistics chain just to support it. Also, training a pilot on a new model of helicopter that's just an upgraded one from what they've been flying their whole career is a lot easier than them getting up to speed on an entirely new aircraft.
That is true.
If you just upgrade, crews don't have to train on how to do maintenance on a new aircraft, which is a big thing because most helicopters need 10 hours of maintenance per
Oh,
flight
yeah.
hour. Logistics stay simplified, and it's overall much less of a headache. Short of it is, upgrading an already existing platform is both cheaper and easier than building a new one. Yes, the silhouette of a UH-1 and a UH-1Y might look similar. That's about where the similarities
Yeah, like look at the huge impressive differences just for the engine. Like it's insane.
in. While there is a very long chain of upgraded iterations between CH-47s in Vietnam to the ones we have today, they might as well be entirely different aircraft at this point.
Yeah.
In a way, you do have a new helicopter. For now, I'm going to ignore the obvious
Ooh, I like how it's
implications of
raining
this
and,
practice.
and we can see them spinning and yeah, I don't know, it looks cool.
For now, I'm going to ignore the obvious philosophical implications of this practice. If you replace all the parts
I do wonder what this thing above is. Is it a radar?
on an airframe, is it still the same
The wipers though! The wipers look so goofy!
implications of this practice? If you replace
Quick.
all the parts on an airframe,
I don't know why, it's just so goofy.
still the same airframe? Why did the military-industrial complex feel the need to make the ship of Theseus paradox a real thing? Can a man step in the same river twice?
Ah,
So what happens when you do want a new helicopter design?
I mean, it just looks goofy.
Even with the greatest engines, sensors, and weapon systems, you're eventually going to hit a point where the raw geometry of the airframe is the limiting factor, at which point you're going to want a new design.
Yeah.
Let me
Can't they just build the design and just make it bigger at that point though? Like I don't know, put a bigger engine on it and make it longer or something.
tell you, we have had our fair share of failed prototypes.
Oh?
The first one we'll
Oh.
talk about is the RAH
Yeah, I did see that somewhere.
66 Comanche, a futuristic stealth helicopter first designed in the 80s to replace the Huey, Cobra, and OH-58s flown by the Army.
Did it fly at least?
Consolidating roles into the same platform can be achieved, assuming the platform is modular enough for the task. However, 20 years in development limbo, $7 billion spent with not a lot to show for it, and the fact that it was supposed to be stealthy, and we started fighting people without radar systems, the money in the program was spent on upgrading existing rotary wing platforms instead.
Well, it looks
Undoubtedly, though, these
viable.
are the coolest looking helicopters anyone has ever actually invented before.
That is true.
Next is the ARH-70 Armed Reconnaissance Helicopter. In the early 2000s, the Army wanted to dump the OH-58 Kiowa. The ARH-70 would have been set to take on the air cavalry role, performing scouting duties, hitting
So like the small, I don't know if the name is the Gazelle, but it's like this tiny little French helicopter that is very light but can go zoom everywhere.
opportunity behind enemy lines and along flanks, while providing air support for troops who needed it. It was based on an already existing design, the Bell 407, but by 2008, development costs were creeping in on $1 billion. Per unit costs hit $14.5 million, and the program was scrapped, with the air cav role eventually being handed to the Apache, despite it not really having the speed needed to do that job. I do love those gunner screen recordings though. No idea how that's even allowed on YouTube, honestly.
Oh,
V-22 is an interesting story.
the what now?
Originally a joint effort between the Army and Marine Corps to serve as a longer-range utility aircraft.
Isn't that
had
just an
better
Osprey?
overall performance, it too got locked into decades of failed prototype after failed prototype, and cost the lives of many pilots during development.
Oh
The
dear.
Army eventually jumped ship, but the Marines kept chugging
Uh-oh.
along, and now use it extensively. Originally,
Wait, what?
the Marines kept chugging along, and now use it extensively.
So it is the Osprey.
Originally, it had the reputation of being a flying metal death trap, and that kind of reputation still follows it to this day for the most part. But it has proven to be a highly reliable and effective tilt-rotor design. So what about all those failed programs made them failed programs in the first place?
Failing?
Why can I not buy a decommissioned Comanche and store it on the parking deck of my apartment building? The first reason is that I cannot afford that. So to help me get one step closer, we're going to talk about today's sponsor.
No.
Not to say that it is hard to gain a grasp of
Right.
a mixture of what's going on. It's alert.
Oh, is it ground news?
Giving you actually true random information. Sabotage. You'll know on the screen to check it out and the one information served.
Oh, it's Citrip about conflicts.
Now, the
Okay.
second big
What is
reason
that?
these programs failed is that helicopters kind of sit in a weird vehicle category when it comes to the overall
What is
scheme of
that?
things. Ground vehicles are all over the place and have quite literally millions of uses, both for military and civilian applications.
Mm-hmm.
When the Army looks to install a hybrid engine on a tank, it can take the lessons learned from decades of private sector research to pull from.
That's the
They quite
doohickey.
literally can use lessons from Priuses just driving around over the last couple of decades, and all that information is free and in PDF form. Same with airplanes. There is a ton of commercial traffic, obviously.
Oh, I think what he's getting at is that militaries or helicopters, there aren't really that much, I think, except for that one universal design everybody uses.
People building the plane that brought you home for Christmas last year to disappoint your family in person are also building planes that carry troops around. And there's a symbiotic relationship when it comes to the R&D processes. Helicopters don't really have that level of backing. Yes, there are plenty of non-military helicopters being flown around in the US, but nowhere even close to the numbers of
Or
airplanes.
that thing, yeah.
And save for a handful of government agencies or a few life flights here and there, they're not performing the tasks that are anywhere close to their military
Yeah, I mean, I
counterparts.
do see a couple helicopters here and there sometimes, but that's it. It's mostly Cessnas or airplanes.
When the Comanche prototype started flying,
The
they
what?
barely actually started flying, because the requirements of their speed, mission endurance, and weapons payload capacity made them so heavy, they were barely able to take off, even in perfect flying conditions.
Just
Because
upgrade the
helicopters
engine?
don't have the same kind of private sector interest.
It is
as
the
mission
beauty.
Made them so requirements of their speed, mission endurance, and weapons payload capacity made them so heavy, they were barely able to take off, even in perfect flying conditions. Because helicopters don't have the same kind of private sector interest as planes, tank parts, and reflective belts, it's more expensive to develop them on the government side. Helicopter firms don't have large enough private sector income
Fair
to create
dinkum?
effective designs without serious government funding.
You missed. Well, I'm currently watching this one, and the previous one was about Wikipedia.
And when it comes to helicopters, it just kind of creates this self-fulfilling prophecy. Military wants to build new helicopter X. New helicopter program X has its budget explode and gets canceled. Now the military wants to build helicopter Y. And the second that that budget starts to get a little bigger, Congressman Person Man says, hey, we don't want another helicopter X to happen. And so now Y gets shut down too. Then, when helicopter Z gets suggested, the first question asked is, how do we keep this from becoming another X or Y? Continue ad nauseum, and we're one letter away from having to use the Greek alphabet to describe the next Huey upgrade. Designing aircraft also runs into the issue of rapidly changing requirements over a long period of time.
Oh?
It takes a long time to design, build, test, and
That is
deploy
true.
a
Oh,
new
yeah.
helicopter, usually in the tens of years
Oh,
kind of
fuck.
time frame. And a lot of things change between program start and anticipated program finish. All the
It could also be, I've seen a few times in military history where things like... Wait, what? Really? There's Minecraft parkour backgrounds? Oh, you mean over here? I didn't notice that.
Craft also
Oh yeah, there is. But what I wanted to say was that I've heard sometimes when vehicles or military stuff get developed, and by the time they're ready, they're already out of date because the situation has changed.
Into the issue of rapidly changing requirements over a long period of time. It takes a long time to design, build, test, and deploy a new helicopter, usually in the tens of years kinds of time frame. And a lot of things change between program start and anticipated program
Exactly.
finish. All the cool stuff we were building during the Cold War was not needed after the Soviets died and respawned as the Russian Federation. All the weird funky stuff we were building for the GWAT is now no longer feasible tech, with drones and contested airspaces being things again. The development phase of a helicopter is typically going to be longer than whatever period of conflict they're expected to engage in. This is not new information. I am not the first to think of this, and I am certainly not some genius who said, helicopter take long time build, sometimes war short. Engineers and designers have to take risks when
Caveman build helicopter, ooh gaga.
And I think that's the biggest reason
What did they say?
when it comes to future times war short. Engineers and designers have to take risks when it comes to future-proofing their platforms. And I think that's the biggest reason why the Army's new tilt-rotor helicopter, the MV-75, did actually get approved, where all others have failed up until now. It essentially skipped over Ukraine entirely.
Oh?
At its core, the MV-75 was designed for a fight against China, not a fight against Russia and friends on NATO's eastern flank. China, in case you haven't been paying attention to the talking heads on the TV, are the bad guys now.
Okay.
The MV-75 performed well in a European ground war? Absolutely, and probably better than the platforms we have now, even though those were specifically designed to fight that potential war. And that's also the tricky part. If the design for this new helicopter was the exact same, down to the very nuts and bolts holding the seatbelts in place, and the designers were saying that it was going to help us beat Russia, it probably wouldn't have been adopted. Largely because Blackhawks and Chinooks are already on the books, and would do just fine in Europe, where the distances traveled aren't too far, the weather is generally less extreme, and you can deploy them from pretty much anywhere you want. Plus, they were there first. It's only fair, they've been waiting for a very long time. But the MV-75 was made for 2030 and beyond, not 2026. It's faster, can go farther, and can carry more stuff than the Black Hawk it's replacing, while also being 3 times the cost. The new platform is going to cost between 30 and 43 million per, while it costs the DoD somewhere between 6 and 10 million if they wanted a new Black Hawk style aircraft to be built. That cost is justified to the DoD, specifically.
Why are they blurring the engine parts where you can see them earlier? Huh?
Offers VTOL rotary wing assets in the Pacific Theater.
Like if I just go back,
while a new platform in the black,
like we can see. Hang on, we can see the engines right there just fine.
Black Hawk it's replacing, while also being 3 times the per. While it aircraft offers VTOL.
But here they're blurring it for some reason. I don't get it, but okay.
Rotary wing assets in the Pacific Theater to the Army, where the current fleet of aircraft would struggle to perform, or just not be able to perform at all. Is this just rebranded Cold War thinking to justify spending a lot of money on the military for a fight that may or may not happen at some point in the near future?
It's not?
Yeah,
Intentional?
That kind of planning allows for bigger timelines, better planning stability, and allows you to spread costs out over more years as you integrate new technologies as they come along. That said, basically every other military vehicle just got canceled, so fuck it, we'll just keep the ball rolling.
Oh
But this
boy.
program was only replacing one helicopter, the UH-60. No word on if the Chinook is going to get the boot once this thing gets up and running, and per unit costs start to go down. The Apache is still around for the foreseeable future, and there's still no designated scout helicopter selected as of now. We're somewhat in the middle of finding a new scout helicopter under FARA, which was originally nested in the program that gave us the MV-75, but no musts. As the Army cut out helicopter cav entirely and divested all the older D model Apaches, that particular role is probably going to be in the hands of drones. Eventually,
Oh yeah, that is
but
true.
We're not there yet. Newer AH-64Es are currently being tested as flying drone motherships, which I don't know if that's scarier than just blasting dudes from kilometers away when they have no way of fighting back. I don't know, man. Attack helicopters are scary as shit. But in the 21st century, it might not be that a new helicopter is just too expensive or built for the wrong war. It might just be that drones do most of their jobs better now. Now, obviously, a DJI from Walmart isn't going to be sling loading a howitzer or Humvee anytime soon. So when it comes down to just physically carrying shit and people around, the utility-style helicopter is going to be around indefinitely. The concept of a dedicated scout helicopter is almost laughable these days. That Kiowa replacement is probably never going to happen. Unfortunately for classic aviation enthusiasts, other than raw drip and vibes, there's nothing that a drone can't do better, while also not putting a human pilot at risk.
That is
I
true.
too am sad about this, but I thought it'd be better if you heard it from me and not someone who just doesn't care about you. And on that note, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.
All
Please
right.
subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.
I was about to say that. Ha. But yeah, alright, that was nice.